Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lara, or Lara Likes Mascara, and I talk about all things makeup no buy, low buy, and curating your makeup collection so that you really achieve the collection that you want. Not by bringing new things into your collection, but by actually curating down your collection to the products that you love. I've been on a mission to do this for more than 3 years now. This is my 4th year of a makeup no buy, and yet I'm always finding new ways to use my collections, new ways to use different products, and realizing that some products just don't quite look for me. So this whole no buy has been a huge learning experience for me, and I am still learning about my own makeup preferences every day. And I think that this will become clear with the products that I am showing you today, because of course I've had these products for a long time, and for some of them I've been thinking, you know, I don't get a ton of use out of these, or I don't love them. I've been thinking that for a long time, but for others, I've just more recently considered decluttering them. So let's get right into the video. I did do one video like this last year. I did a talking about products that I might want to declutter kind of video in February, and then I posted an update in April. This was inspired by Sarah Rose, so she did a chopping block makeup video where she essentially talked through products that she was deciding about decluttering, and then a couple months later she provided an update on whether or not she decided to declutter those items. I did that last year. It was super helpful, and I think I ended up decluttering a lot of those products or finding alternative ways to use some of them. So I found it very useful, and I've tried not to duplicate any of those products here, so I'm hopefully not going to be talking about those same products in this video. These are all new or different things that I'm thinking about decluttering. This is going to be very eyeshadow heavy, just to warn you off the bat, so if you love that, great. I know eyeshadow is like the foundation of a lot of makeup or makeup looks. So let's talk about this one first. This is the Glam Eyes HD Rimmel London palette. This is one of the only Rimmel items that I own. I kind of think that my mom got this for me, and I did have another one. I had a more gray and black one. I decluttered that to a friend towards the beginning of my no buy, but this one I kept. Now, this is a product that I didn't ever get use out of. I never reached for it. As you can see, it is broken. But then over the course of my no buy, when I tried to reach for all of my eyeshadow palettes equally, I discovered that I did like this palette. In particular, this one main shimmer color there is beautiful. I do have other colors in my collection that are very similar, not identical, but similar enough to the point that I don't feel like I need to keep this, particularly because it is broken, because I've had it a long time, and because I don't use those other colors. It's very hard to even like get into them. Like I wouldn't be able to swatch them, because if I put my finger like that, you know, I would get a swatch of 3 different colors. Can you see that? So I can really only achieve one eyeshadow look with this, and it is this shimmery brown color all over the lid, and then that lighter shade in the inner corner and a little bit on the inner half of the lid. So let me give you a swatch of these colors because they really are beautiful. Look at that. I just think it's so pretty. And then that lighter shade there, it's difficult to swatch this one. I got the other colors all over, but I'm gonna try my best. Okay, so ignore that third color on top there. But those are the 2 shades that I reached for, although the vast majority of the time it's just the bronze one. I think it's beautiful. I think it looks beautiful on my lids. And here's the problem. Okay, so I'm 90% sure that I've decluttered it, but I keep pulling it out of my pile of decluttered makeup. I've done this like at least 3 times. The most recent time was because I wanted to capture the look on video one last time before it was gone. So this is basically a declutter, but I keep pulling it out. And so because of that, I'm like, maybe it's not a declutter. Maybe it is. I think this is a declutter, but yeah, that is how this inspired this video. I also found when I filmed this the last time, it was super helpful for just like making my decision for me, or you guys did. You gave me a lot of comments that were helpful. So hopefully, oh my God, look what just happened. Can you see that? Part of it just completely fell out. How? Was I treating this rough? Okay, I'm just gonna try to push that back in there. Is anyone gonna want that now? Okay, I'm gonna have to clean this up before I try to declutter it. Oh, it's just so pretty. It's so nice. I love that color. So making this video, this is me saying this is a declutter. Okay? Just believe me, please. Let's talk about one more eyeshadow thing before we move on. This is another thing that I'm like pretty close to sure that I've decluttered, but I'm putting in this video just to be accountable. So this is the Maybelline City Mini palette. Again, I think this is one my mom got me, but I think that I specifically told her to get it for me 1 year, and then I'd forgotten about it by the next year, and she got it for me the next year. So by that point it was kind of too late. I wasn't interested in it anymore, or I didn't like purples anymore by that point. I'm not sure what it was, but I can only use 2 colors from this palette. I can use this gold here, and I can use that white color there. So let me show you some swatches. Don't have enough fingers for this. Okay, I did my best. That is those colors there. So the purples, I just don't wear purples anymore, even though that light mauve one looks nice. I would just usually rather have a brown or a pink in the crease. Those 2 other shimmers aren't great, and they're also too dark for my liking, too silvery. So yeah, it's really only that bottom color there that I wear, and it's a nice shade. It's very like creamy. It goes on beautifully, but it's just not worth keeping a whole palette for one shade. Again, same issue here. So I'm mostly sure that I'm decluttering this, but I have had this in my makeup basket for the past month or so just to try to get some use out of it before I say goodbye. But again, like, I'm worried that, you know, by the end of the month I'll be like, no, I want to keep it. Yeah, that's why it's in the video. Okay, now let's talk about blush. So I have 3 blushes that I'm thinking about decluttering. 1 is drugstore and 2 are high end. I think I've talked about the drugstore one before, so we'll just discuss it briefly. This is a Revlon cream blush in Charmed. I'm out of space here, so I'm gonna have to do my arm. So I think that this is a bit too pink for me. I don't love super pink blushes, super pink lips. You will notice that I have a very pink look on today because Valentine's Day. I mean, obviously also wearing this sweater. I wouldn't have worn pink lips except for Valentine's Day. I do love the eye look though. It's very fun. And I also don't like cream blushes. So that leads me to the next one, this Milk Makeup Blush. This was part of the Sephora gift a couple years ago, and I don't like the smell, but I've never liked the smell. Like, this isn't, I mean, maybe it's gone off, but I don't think I'd be able to tell from the smell because this is the exact way it smelled the first time I opened it. And I opened it right after getting it from Sephora. So I'm gonna swatch it here. It's not as pink. It's, maybe I shouldn't have swatched here. It's more, a little bit more peachy, but I don't find that this lasts at all. And that is a theme for cream blushes. They don't last. Powder blushes last. I also find them just more challenging to put on. So I know some people love cream blushes. I just don't. I only have 3, and 2 of the 3 I'm considering decluttering. I mean, I think it's good to have like a diversity of different kinds of products in my collection. So it's good to have cream blushes, but I just don't use them. The third blush is this Tarte one. It is in the color Exposed. This is one of the Amazonian Clay 12-hour blushes. Now, you can tell I have barely used this blush. It's not specifically because I dislike it. It's because I didn't let myself use this until I used up quite a few other blushes first, because this was the newest purchase. I got this as a replacement for the Party blush that was part of the Sephora gift that I loved. But then I realized that I liked the Party blush better. So I just got that one again, and I realized that that one is so much better than this one. This one does not last at all, and it also doesn't really show up on my cheeks. I have to apply so much product for it to show up, and then when it does, it doesn't last throughout the day because it is so pale. So I don't think this is pigmented enough for my skin tone. I like the formula, and it is different because it is a very different shade than anything else I have in my collection, because it is more like brownie. It's not good. Yeah, it doesn't swatch at all. I do wonder if I have some hard pan on the center there, so maybe I should try to use some tape. But yeah, I just don't find this one super pigmented. So that's where I'm at right now. I also haven't used it a ton, obviously, so maybe I just need to give it some more time. Okay, let's go back to eyeshadows. Now, the reason this is so heavily focused on eyeshadows is because I am doing a Pan Those Eyeshadows series on my channel. I started this about 6 months to a year ago, and I have been very selective with the eyeshadows that I do each month or two. I don't just select them randomly. I only have about 15 single eyeshadows and I just don't get enough use out of them because I tend to reach for my palettes more. So I wanted to do this project in order to reach for them more. So 2 of the ones that I had in my first rendition of Panos eyeshadows are these ColourPop ones. I got them at the same time. They are in the colors Paradox and Cuteologist. I don't find that these have lasted very well. They are newer additions to my collection, so I got them I think about 2 years ago, which is, you know, still a while, but compared to the other eyeshadows in my collection that I've had for way longer than that, I don't know why these are in the condition they're in. I think I've repressed both of them. They're just like not looking in great shape, and the brush doesn't pick up a ton of product when I swirl it around in there. So I either have to like reformulate these or press really hard with the brush. I love the colors, but I wonder if it's worth getting these shades from a different brand, because frankly, like, these ColourPop single eyeshadows just have not lasted, unfortunately. And so for that reason, I haven't reached for them since them being in my Panos eyeshadows. Okay, I only have one bronzer that I'm thinking about decluttering, so let's move on to that one. This probably looks pretty familiar to you. This is the e.l.f. Contouring Blush and Bronzing Powder, one of the oldest products in my collection. As you can see, I have completely panned the blush there. This is a product that prior to my no buy I had gotten a lot of use out of, so I just decided to use it up in my project pan last year, which was great. But that bronzer shade is so dark. I used it as part of a like makeup costume look back in Halloween when I was a deer, and you can tell from those pictures just like how dark the bronzer is. I don't think that I've tried this as like a regular bronzer since then. It's just so dark, and it also has some like bumps on it, which kind of weird. Because the blush took me so long, using up the bronzer I know will take way longer. I'm not really sure if I feel like committing a year to using this bronzer, especially because it is so dark, so I only need a tiny amount each day. Yeah, but it is sucky to see that like a product I finished still has to stick around because it's a duo. I don't love that. I wish that because I finished the blush, I could get rid of it. I never like the bronzer as much as the blush in there. So let me know what you think I should do about that, but at the very least, I should probably try it out a little bit more before I make a decision. Maybe that's what this is about. It's about me like forcing myself to highlight these products and use them some more to see how I feel about them. Because as I said, like, I haven't used this since October, so I just don't know how I feel about it. Okay, I have one lip product that I'm thinking about decluttering. I do think that I might have talked about this last year in my chopping block video, but I've decided that it's just one product that I would declutter. So these are 2 of my brightest lipsticks. They look similar in the tube. Not identical, but they look similar enough. But when you swatch them, they're actually quite different colors. I mean, you can tell which one is darker, right? But one is much pinker than the other. I don't love pink lips, as I mentioned before. So I'm fine keeping the darker one, but that brighter pink one, I just don't know when I would use it. I think I will try to get a little bit more use out of it in February and as the spring approaches, but if I don't find myself reaching for it in the next couple of months, which is like really the only time when it makes sense to use it, then I don't think it's worth keeping that one around. So I'm happy to keep that a little bit more orangey one, but the brighter pink one is just so hot pink. And I think I have one other pink that's super similar to it. Yeah, look how similar that is. This is a Revlon Colorburst Matte Lip Balm. You can see they're almost identical. So I'll need to think about that for sure. Let's end off the video talking about eyeshadows, because as I said, this is a very eyeshadow heavy video. These are all singles. So let's see, if you watch my videos, you will probably recognize them. These are the Revlon single eyeshadows. I have quite a few. 5 of them are in my Panos eyeshadows project right now this month. So I've been getting a lot of use out of them over the past week or 2 since I filmed that video. One of them in that video, I said that I had decided to declutter, but now I don't know. I actually really want to try it. So this is the color Pistachio 735. This is the only one that I haven't opened of the lot. I think what I'm gonna do is look it up on YouTube or just like Google to see what it's like, because I found some of these are so sheer and I don't like that. I want them to be like a more wash of color. So I'm really curious about this because I haven't found a green eyeshadow that looks good on me yet, but I am looking, and this is kind of like an olivey tone. So I'm so, I really want to try it out, but I don't want to open it. So that's where I'm with that. The other ones, so this one I'm actually wearing today. This in the color 745. It is a pink and it's a great base. I wore this all day yesterday with other eyeshadows on top with no other eyelid primer, and it didn't crease at all. Even when I went outside for a walk, it was snowing. My eyelashes looked terrible, insert picture here, but my eyelids and my eyeshadow looked great. So I'm wearing this under my look today. Again, I can't wear this by itself because it's not a good color on me. It's just so lightly pigmented. I will show a swatch here from my Pan Those Eyeshadows video where you can see all of them, but yeah, just very pale. This is the one that I had been using for a while before, so I've gotten a lot of use out of this. It is just a bit too frosty for my liking. I would prefer it to be a bit warmer tone. And then these are the other four. Let's talk about the shimmers first. Yeah, I just don't love any of these. I think they're not warm toned enough. This one is a bit warmer, but these two, they're just cool, and I don't find that they look great on my eyes. The shimmers I don't love. This is a matte one, which is different, and it's a taupe. Some taupes look great on me. This one does not. So again, I will show you swatches of what these look like. I don't know if they're worth keeping. Like, I will use them if I force myself to, but I don't want to force myself to use them, you know? I have been talking with Shauna Rapari, who is another small Canadian YouTuber who talks a lot about no buy and conscious consumerism makeup as well, and we might be doing some kind of a makeup swap sometime soon, and she has indicated interest that she might want to try some of these. So I think that would be perfect, because I don't like decluttering for the reason that I'm worried sometimes that the product might just end up in the garbage, or someone else who takes it might not use it. But if I gave it to her, you know, I would know for sure that she does use it. The only reason that I would hang on to these is because I would think that I would get more use out of them than someone else. So that's why I have an issue decluttering on the whole, and why I haven't got rid of these other products immediately. But anyways, those are all the products that I'm thinking about decluttering. You can see some of those swatches right there. Let me know what you think of these products and when you would like me to do an update. I'm thinking in about 2 to 3 months would be a good amount of time to try these all out and gather my thoughts. Let me know what you think of these. Have you tried any of them? Did you declutter them, or am I way off the mark and you actually love them? I kind of think this Milk Makeup Blush, a lot of people love this. A lot of people don't. If you love it, I'm sorry. It's just not for me. Let's talk about a book that I've been reading lately. So this is Passing by Nella Larsen. I just finished this morning at breakfast. This is a very old book, written in 1929, but it reads very contemporary. Like, I didn't find it inaccessible at all, which is a rarity because, well, I don't read old books for that reason. I find that they're just not super accessible. I can't relate to people. I don't like the writing style. This really felt contemporary. It was just made into a movie last year. That is actually how I heard about it. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I was very interested in it. And when I heard that it was based on a book, I figured I would pick up the book, and at some point I will watch the movie. Unfortunately, because this is such a classic and so well known, I think there's an assumption that everyone knows the storyline or is familiar with the story or has read it, because there is an introduction which gives some information about Nella Larsen. There is like a chronology about the author. It also discusses the events of the book, and on like the second page of the introduction, it gives a huge spoiler of what happens on like the third last page of the book. And reading it, I was like, whoa, I didn't know that happened. I've never read this book before. So I thought that was really ill-conceived of the publisher to have that as the introduction, or to include that spoiler in the introduction. Just really unfair to give me a spoiler without any warning. But this was very well written, very interesting. I'll just give you a quick synopsis. Two young women who are living in the US. It is, you know, the early 1900s. They are both very light-skinned black women. They used to know each other in childhood and they come together again when they're young women. I think they're like early 20s. One of them has been passing for white and her husband does not know. This was kind of reminiscent of The Vanishing Half. If you've read that by Britt Bennett, I did read that and I didn't realize how much of it was inspired by this book. So anyways, very interesting concept, very well written. Nella Larson was so perceptive. Just that a woman would be able to write and publish a book like this at that time is pretty cool because there were not a ton of women in publishing back then. But anyways, highly recommend it. Very short. It was like 130 pages. Yeah. Passing. But anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, let me know what you think down below. Give this video a thumbs up and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.